Week number 6 in the National Football League. Dag, man. Does any sports schedule go faster than the National Football League? Dexter Reed, World of Matchups, joining us with the man, the myth, the legend, Spencer the Wiz, Blue Milk Boys Gaming, coming to you guys live and direct from Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, with this week's Game of the Week, which I think is going to be, quite frankly, the game of the year. That's not going to be a playoff game. Buffalo goes to Kansas City yet again. Patrick Mahomes, for the first time in his entire professional career, is an underdog at Arrowhead. Let's talk about it, Spencer.
The first thing that needs to be talked about is how can they not flex this to be the primetime game? You're going to
Yeah.
have Cooper Rush in the primetime game, but not the game of the year in the primetime?
Yeah, this is a
This,
huge L. This is a huge L by the NFL. This has got to be Sunday Night Football. I don't care what anyone says. I know the Eagles are hot right now, and I know Dallas is winning despite not having Dak. But Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, it needs to be played under the lights. You saw the ratings for Monday night, Chiefs Raiders, under the lights at Arrowhead. The mystique is everything. So that's number one. NFL has to hold it. NFL's holding a lot of L's right now, bro. But this is
their
one.
primetime games have been so bad. I mean, how
Bro,
do you even schedule a Washington Bears game? Like, how do you let that happen?
it's insanity. I mean, let Patrick Mahomes save you. You know what I mean? He's already bailing out Andy Reid every week. Let him save the NFL. Put him and Josh Allen on the big stage. The last time we saw these two guys on the field was a Sunday night playoff game under the lights at Arrowhead. It was the most watched game of probably all time. In my mind, it's the top 3 football games I've ever seen in my life. Let these guys spin. But no, we're going to be watching Cooper freaking Rush. So that's enough about that before I start throwing chairs. Patrick Mahomes' disrespect has got to stop. I know Jalen Hurts is having a nice start to his season. I know Lamar Jackson is having a nice start to his season, and he's playing at a very high level. He wants that long-term deal. He'll probably get it to $300 million guaranteed. But Patrick Mahomes just continues to do what Patrick Mahomes does. And now he's an underdog and is building for the first time. No other professional player with his resume has been more disrespected to this point, and now he's at home getting points. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm taking the Chiefs plus the points in this game, in a very close one for a lot of different reasons. Number one, they're getting Harrison Butker back. This is the type of game where Harrison Butker will kick a game-winning field goal. Having him on the field is enormous. The special teams unit has not been the same since he went down due to a shitty field in Arizona. That sprained ankle is finally coming back to life. You absolutely got to have this guy on the field. It's a huge difference maker for Kansas City. That's number one. Number two, the Bills' defense, that secondary is not 100%. They're not 100%. And you saw what Patrick Mahomes can do versus them when they are healthy. He owns Josh Allen head to head. That's a game that they should have beaten the Chiefs last year, and they weren't able to. And that team that's coming in tomorrow is not as healthy as that last team. So that's number two. Number three, the Chiefs are getting more guys back. Trent McDuffie may or may not play. I know they've got some injuries as well, but they're getting healthier each week. They were lucky to beat the Raiders. We all know this, but now they're realizing that this game could potentially decide home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. This is a playoff game. I think Andy Reid has been bad the last couple of weeks. I don't think it could get much worse. I think the bag of tricks will come out on Sunday, and the Chiefs will win a 1-point game in exciting fashion. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's what, at the very least, I think that's what we all want to see is like NFL fans. Uh, this is going to be a good matchup, obviously. I mean, thinking back to last time, and maybe that favors the Bills a little bit, at least in theory. Obviously, they're a little upset the way things ended, during last year's playoffs, being only seconds away from winning that game and probably winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it seemed like they're on that war path. They don't seem as dominant this year. I know they started out the year really well, but just kind of squeaking by some of these wins. Maybe it's only a matter of time before they come together. I mean, okay, well, the Steelers game is obviously a very clear exception to that rule, but the
The
Steelers
Steelers are
just,
garbage.
yeah, they're just not very good this year.
They're
So
garbage, bro.
was more just of a confidence win for them. But I think the Chiefs do have to be careful because I mean Javonte Adams cooks the Chiefs secondary like a filet mignon, dude.
They're
And if
not
they got
good.
yeah, so if
That's
you
the
got
Chiefs' weakness is their secondary.
yeah, that does not bode well for them. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs are like catching their stride. That's going to be the point of contention here because even the Chiefs receivers, uh, Valdez Scantling had a pretty good game against the Raiders, and I would say, like as a Raiders fan, like I would say their secondary is like middle of the road. I wouldn't call them like the bottom of the bottom because they got a couple of guys who are pretty darn decent, and the Chiefs receivers didn't do too much against them. So I think again that kind of favors the Bills a little bit because the Chiefs secondary is just so. And I would bet there's going to be a lot of people on DFS going for Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis in this game, and you would probably think it's going to be a high scoring game as well.
Yeah, I think it
But at
goes
this
over.
but at the same time, I would say it's weird to see the Chiefs not favored at home. I've never seen anything from them that would say otherwise that they shouldn't be favored against literally any team in the NFL. But this is the first like real big test for me. From what I've remembered, the Chiefs haven't played anybody like this so far this season. I guess you could say like the Chargers, kind of, in a
Chargers game
way.
was a tough game.
It was tough, but I don't know. For some reason, I just don't buy into the Chargers. I just don't. I'm not picking up what they're putting down. So for me,
Yeah.
like this is the first like real playoff tested post Tyreek Hill. Everyone's in their stride as well, like
Hmm.
going into this week. The first few weeks aren't throwaways, obviously, because it counts against your record. But these are the kinds of teams I think you're going to see from this season onward. I think there's going to be a lot less variation, in performances. And I think that the Bills that you saw last week is probably a little bit more indicative of what you're going to see from them for the rest of the season. I also think this is going to be a really close game. But if I'm betting, I'm not going to take. I wouldn't take the Chiefs money line, but I'll take the points that come with it. Anytime at home, you can get the Chiefs with points. I mean, that doesn't happen. It probably
Doesn't
won't
happen.
happen for the rest of Patrick Mahomes' career.
Well,
So
it won't because the Chiefs will win this game and then people will stop the bullshit. I mean, you know, and I know that home dogs pay dividends and emotions are going to be running high at Arrowhead. Look, Gabe Davis is not sneaking up on Kansas City this week. There will be no 204 touchdowns. That's not happening. And if you go look at the last 3 or 4 games that Stephon Diggs has played versus Kansas City, he's done nothing. He really hasn't gone off. Now, it's going to be different this week because those rookie corners are going to be put to the test, and DC Steve Spagnuolo is going to have to give these guys some help over the top. The safeties have to come up and help these rookies. I mean, like you said, Devontae Adams. I don't know how he didn't have more. They should have just kept force feeding him targets because that secondary is the weakness. They're hemorrhaging. Brian Cooks, he's out. Rashad Fenton, who is the Black Daniel Sorensen, he's out, and they just have rookies. There's no Honey Badger back there anymore. And so Josh Allen is going to throw the ball a lot. Both teams are going to throw the ball a lot. I think the lock of the week is the over in this game, but I think the defense will be opportunistic enough to make enough stops and get a really hard fought, close win. The Chiefs, this is what I like about the Chiefs. How do you want to win? Because they can win any way you want. They can blow you out, as we saw with Arizona. They can play you close, as we saw with the Raiders. They can win running the ball for 4 quarters. They can win throwing the ball for 4 quarters. And that's a dangerous team because usually if you lock down a team and make them one-dimensional, they're done. But that's not the case with Kansas City. And Patrick Mahomes getting points anywhere in his career, in his prime, that's dangerous. That
yeah,
disrespect, I don't
yeah.
care what anyone says. These guys read this stuff. They know going into the games, all the bulletin board material. They know the spreads. They know the over-unders. They know all of it. They may act and say like they don't, but they do, and it matters. And so I think this is a close one. I mean, I think Josh Allen's going to go bananas tomorrow. I'm not even going to front like he's not, but I think that Patrick Mahomes will equally go bananas. This will be like Rocky Apollo. That's what this is going to be.
The rematch of the century.
It's
But
going to be
no,
like
yeah,
Rocky
like I
Apollo.
said, this is it. Like the whole storyline with the Chiefs going into the offseason, was can they do it without their star players? And these are the kinds of games that you like to see Tyreek Hill and Tyrann Mathieu. And so this is
Yeah.
it. Can they
This is it.
win in the biggest games without their biggest, not their two biggest star players, but among their two biggest star players?
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
mean, we'll see. Will they have an answer for Travis Kelsey? I don't think so. I think two underrated players in this game that no one really is shining like they need to is Devin Singletary for the Bills and Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have shown that they're going to run the ball this year. They're running the ball at a higher rate. And if they can run the ball and sustain long drives and keep Josh Allen off the field and turn those scoring chances into touchdowns, they're going to win this game. They're going to win this game. There's no more flashy 50, 60, 70-yard bombs. It's not happening. They don't have the personnel to do it anymore, but they can paper cut you to death. And surprisingly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been good this year, man. He's been good. And Devin Singletary has been good versus Kansas City. Watch the running game. I think when everybody might want to see the fireworks of the passing game, you may be pleasantly surprised to see the running game decide this game. If the Chiefs
Yeah,
can run the ball, run the clock out, close them out on the ground, Arrowhead's going to be as loud as it's ever been on Sunday. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere. And again, the National Football League has to hold a huge L on this. How is this game not being played at 5:20 tomorrow night? It's beyond me.
it's crazy.
Chiefs all day, every day. We're taking them by 1 point. Take the points. Scared money don't make money. This is world of matchups.